I used AI to simulate the Premier League 10,000 times, and this is what it gave me. In this video, I will show you who this supercomputer predicts to go down, who will get Europe, and who will win the league. But to make this video possible, I used Aaron W. Data's AI simulator, and the link to his TikTok will be in the description below. And so, let's get into it. Starting off, we have each club's individual club profiles, showing us all the probabilities for each team, and if we scroll down, we can find the relegation candidates, where Sunderland are. Not highly rated, shall we say, as the AI predicts that they will go down in just over 92% of our 10,000 simulations, with 60% of those being right at the rock bottom. It looks slightly better for Leeds, who have just under 70% chance of relegation, but that is still seriously not great odds. And then our first team, who look like they could stage a bit of a fight, is the final promoted side of Burnley, who managed to stay up in 45% of the simulations and managed to finish as high as 6th at least once. So there is some hope. It also must be said that these are not guaranteed places and are based off of the computer's own 10,000 sims. So this means that in 2 sims, Burnley finished 6th. Obviously, it is possible for them to finish higher and pull off a lesser-esque title charge, but it didn't happen in any of our 10,000 sims. And then to round off the relegation fight, we have Wolves, who survive a pretty impressive 75% of the time, but they're definitely still involved in this relegation battle. Now, I won't go through every single team individually, but as a Brighton fan and predominantly Brighton channel, I would like to stop by and see what the computer thinks of our chances coming in to next season. And inside these 10,000 simulations, Brighton finished in some form of European football 40% of the time. This is also subject to change as a result of whether England get more coefficient places. So if we do get that, which looks very likely, then those chances will be increased even more because an extra English club will get it and it will go to 8th. AI clearly has high hopes for the Seagulls, as within our set of sims we win the league more times than we finished rock bottom of it, which is quite a crazy thing to think about, but it has our average position as 8th with an average point of 57.1. A strong season, especially if 8th does qualify for Europe next year. And then if we look more in depth into the relegation battle, we can see a full list of each team's chances of relegation. Any teams not on this list did not get relegated a single time in all of our 10,000 attempts. So it must be nice to support one of those 4 teams, but as we can see, the supercomputer has the bottom 3 pretty nailed on, with the only other candidates really being Fulham, West Ham and Wolves. Now, for the European race, there's only one team who didn't get Europe a single time in any of this database, and it's Sunderland. Everybody else qualified for some form of European football at least once, with your favourites being basically who you would expect. The biggest surprise for me, and this may just be my agenda, is Crystal Palace, who despite European fixture congestion finished in another form of Europe through the league 63% of the season simmed. And then at the top of the tree, it appears that the Champions League is pretty nailed on for 3 of the 4 spots, as Liverpool, City and Arsenal stay very consistent throughout. Speaking of the top of the table, the title favourites are Liverpool with an impressive 37%, but they're closely followed by both Man City and Arsenal, so we're in for an interesting 3-horse race according to this model. But more importantly, again, if we scroll down, Brighton are there. 0.03% chance, 99.97% faith. Also, to see Brighton and Hove Albion as better title favourites than Manchester United is quite a crazy thing for me. So, to get a better view of this table and league standings, we have this matrix, which lists the percentage each club finished in each possession to eventually get to our averages. And what sticks out for me here is the Bournemouth title win. So in these 10,000 sims, they have managed to win one of them, but they didn't finish second once. This table in particular shows the pretty large confidence that AI has in both the top 3 and the bottom three, as they are both in the darker colours to show the higher percentages. And then the European race is still pretty confident in its sides, but we get to the bit in between where Palace usually sit, you know, not threatening the relegation, but also not threatening Europe, where our simulations seem to think it's anyone's game, really. And then with that, it leads us to the final table. The final predictions the AI has for the 2025-2026 season. Liverpool finish at the top of the tree with an average of 82.5 points, and City and Arsenal follow closely and are basically inseparable. But Arsenal break their curse of finishing second as they drop to third. Chelsea, Villa, Newcastle and Palace round out the European spots, and Brighton, United and Tottenham make up the top 10. We then move further down the table as Fulham, West Ham and Wolves all survive, with the three newly promoted sides going down. And I think that's quite a common theme when you watch basically anybody else predict the Premier League this season. And I've made a video on this, of how the Big 17 is now what we've got in English football, and that it is kind of unbreakable. Now, another thing this database does is it stores all 10,000 games, so you can just look through each one individually and see how it ended up. So here are some of the craziest tables I found. To start things off, we have table number 9, where Leeds comfortably stay up on 49 points. Man City fall out of the Champions League places. Palace take that spot in the Champions League as Liverpool fall to third, leaving Chelsea in second, and more crazily, Arsenal have won a league trophy. And then we have sim number 11, only 2 after that previous sim, where Palace again finish top 4, Burnley are in 11th, and Sunderland also stay up, leaving just Leeds as the only promoted side to go back down, alongside Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth, which are 2 massive fall-offs. Then we have simulation 5063, which sees Leeds stay up this time as we crown ourselves a new champion as Newcastle take home the trophy in what would be a pretty shock twist of a season. And then to end it off, unfortunately, I didn't find one of the 3 Premier League wins for my club, Brighton. However, I did find simulation 2936, where we miss out by 1 single point to Man City. I don't know if I could take it. Obviously, a second place would be genuinely ridiculous, but missing out by 1 point, wow, that would be rough. But if you enjoyed this video and if you would like to see more in the future, then please like and subscribe, because it helps out the channel a lot. And if you agreed with the AI or disagreed, let me know in the comments. And with all that being said, fade to black.